Hey, but just Wooly coming in. Well, I got some additional information here pertaining to Royal Vermin stole the world's gold here. Tried and true information. You might recall how I made the connection that all these London, England-based think tanks / professional scheming institutions predate the mirrored versions erected in the United States by 1 year, such as the Royal United Services Institute, that predates Skull and Bones, 322 so secret we can't talk about it. Isn't that right there, W? Uh-huh.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go
I'm
wild.
sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the rest.
Number 322?
And there's Skull and Bonesman John Kerry hanging out at the Royal United Services Institute. Well, there's another connection just like that. Maybe the Council on Foreign Relations here would like to point that out for us.
I would remind you this is on the record. We are simulcast or live casting this, so this is not a typical CFR event where it's on what we used to call Chatham House rules and now are CFR rules, I guess. Thank you. And,
Chatham House rules. Let's see here. Chatham House. The Royal Institute of International Affairs, erected in London, England, 1 year prior to the Council on Foreign Relations. I do believe I see a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of the Royal Institute of International Affairs, what is it that the Council on Foreign Relations is always talking about in their topics section? Oh, that's right. Global governance, aka taking over the world? Yeah, exactly. Except they are a proxy subservient to the rules set by their London, England-based counterpart where all of our gold is currently sitting. And seeing as a foreign military power has completely usurped our sovereignty and is undermining our Declaration of Independence and is controlling our foreign and domestic policy to disastrous results, it's no wonder that U.S. Corp's death rate kills 2.5 million more of its own in 8 years than Red China. After all, the royals don't even care about their own serfs. Yes, slave girl, you're to curtsy, give up an offering to Queen Bitch, then be slapped, assaulted, then looked down on as they walk on without a care in the world. It's just normal procedure to assault your lowly serfs, isn't it, Queen Bitch? Poor slave girl, now you know exactly why the U.S. parted from that treasonous monarchy years ago.
Bye-bye!
Stupid man.
Thank you very much. Get off the fence!
I think I know what's going on here. The Queen's Guard loves terrorizing the peasants and the serfs to make them feel better because they're mad that the Queen has her own guard stuck with those old, crusty SA-80 rifles.
Okay. Magazine. Brilliant.
Damn, our Vietnam era M16s with the wrong powder function better than that. Alrighty then, Queen Bitch. Well, seeing as your guards' rifles don't work, I'll cut you a deal. How about you give your citizens the equivalent of the Second Amendment and give us all the gold you stole from Underworld Trade Center, Fort Knox, and out of the Middle East back to us, and I'll consider advising you on how to arm your troops with something that actually works.
Get back from the Queen's Guard!
However, due to the underhanded scheming and usurpation of our constitutional republic by the Royal United Services Institute and Chatham House, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, both of which 1 year later after their inception set up a mirrored version to usurp our constitutional republic.
CFR event where it's on what we used to call Chatham House rules and now are CFR rules, I guess.
Thank you.
And,
we get a lot of advice from the council, so this will mean I won't have as far to go to be told what we should be doing and how we should think about the future.
Put policy prescriptions before the president. After all, that's our job.
They make the decision.
I could be wrong, but I do believe there's some language within the Declaration of Independence, United States Constitution, and Bill of Rights on exactly how to deal with treasonous foreign powers usurping our constitutional republic. I suggest you pull out your textbooks and read up on the history of the U.S. War for Independence, because history tends to repeat itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, history is more than the path left by the past. It influences the present and can shape the future. Few places reach so far into the heart of our nation. Yet, until today, no American president has stood on these steps to address our country's parliament.
My Lord Chancellor, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Prime Minister, my lords and members of the House of Commons, I have known few greater honors than the opportunity to address the Mother of Parliaments at Westminster Hall. And with the founding of NATO, a British idea, we joined a transatlantic alliance that is
a precursor to the United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs, which seeks to repeal the Second Amendment and destroy any leverage you have to defend yourself and your sovereign constitutional republic declared independent. In fact, citizens of the United Kingdom have already warned you about this very pending issue. I suggest you heed their warning. And if you don't heed their warning, the genocide that always follows large disarmament will take place. This historical trend is well documented. I'll have all these resources linked for you. So I hope the United States Secret Service, FBI, federal, state, and local law enforcement understand the gravity of this situation, as U.S. citizens do need to be mobilized in defense of our sovereign constitutional republic. You and your family's lives are on the line as well, seeing as we're dealing with a foreign usurpation seeking to disarm us for the coming genocide. Those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it.
They marched in protest, a silent procession of a people grasping for one last chance to resist, shamefully admitting they only have themselves to blame for government policies that threaten their way of life, their security, and the future of democracy in Britain.
We've been very apathetic for years, and now we're paying the price for it.
A future that's in doubt, and the largest peaceful protest in British history to try to change that has got many asking, where were these voices 6 years ago when there was an outright ban on handguns and pistol shooters were forced to surrender their firearms, confiscated by the government to be destroyed? Liberties that have already been sacrificed for the politicians' false promise of a safer society. Gun bans that, as predicted, have simply backfired.
We've seen about a 40% increase in firearms crime since the ban was introduced. That is not a success in my book.
We need to be armed, you know, we're not safe any longer.